POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. For many of you out there that are suffering from this disease, you have probably been through the ringer of ER visits, cardiology visits, EKG studies, durational weeks on end of evaluating your heart. You've gone to the doctor, the PCP, the mental health doctors, and you have found no resolution. There are many different ways that people people view what POTS is, right? It deals with your heart. So obviously you're going to wonder what's going on with my cardiology, right? You're going to want to see your PCP. You're going to want to see your cardiologist because you want to rule out a heart attack. You want to rule out any faulty vascular issues. You want to rule out all these things. But the one thing that none of you consider is an issue with the very top bone of your neck. You see, when we have what is called a subluxation, meaning that we have a bone out of place causing a neurological deficit, we present with symptomatic responses. If that sits there for a long enough time, our major organ systems will begin to show us signs of this deficit. And one of those signs is POTS. You see, many of you think about your heart and you think that your heart is this resilient organism, and it is, right? It pumps blood 24/7. I mean, that's just incredible to think about. And what's fascinating about it is that it pumps to its own accord. So if you put a saline solution of, I think it's sodium potassium is what you would put out there, and you soaked a dead heart in there, right? Or I took a heart out of a cadaver and I put it in there, it would still beat at roughly 60 beats a minute into perpetuity as long as that equation was maintained, meaning a 3:2 ratio of sodium potassium. So what is interesting about this is that when we have something like POTS and our heart is starting to go haywire, what we start to see is that it's a result of faulty adaptation. You see, the heart has what's called the sinoatrial node. This beats constantly, right? It's in the upper right atria, and it is a piece of electrode tissue that will just beat, right? However, we have another secondary wiring system from the vagus nerve that is originated at the very top bone of your neck, C1, anterior nerve root, combination of several nerves together to make this beautiful nerve. And it is responsible for allowing your heart to adapt. You run up the stairs, your heart rate needs to pump more blood. You run down the stairs, your heart rate needs to pump more blood. You lift some weights, you do a Valsalva, you sit down and try to go to the bathroom. You stand up from sitting in a chair for a long period of time. You need to have an adaptive response. And when you have a subluxation or you have an upper cervical problem that can only be quantified by taking x-rays and thermographic assessment or thermographic evaluation, that is when you know that you may have an issue with your neck causing POTS, instead of it being, too much sodium or a regular heart problem, right? Because what we often see is that many of you go to the ER doctor for a number of visits. You go in there, not once, not twice, not three, more like every other day. And you're like, why is my heart irregular? Why am I getting nauseous? Why am I getting dizzy? Why is it that when I go to the bathroom, I feel like I'm going to pass out? Why do I have all these things happening that are not responding to normal medical intervention? It's because you have an underlying cause that has not been resolved. And that underlying cause is an upper cervical issue that can only be solved or corrected by delivering an upper cervical adjustment. This is not the run-of-the-mill chiropractor. This is not the joint. This is not going down the street to your friend who graduated from the local chiropractic school that used to like to adjust you at parties, right? That stuff is bogus. This is pure scientific work. This is looking at what is happening neurologically, having a deep understanding of the biomechanics of the first and second bone of your neck, and the implications of a misalignment and what it can do to your entire human body. What's fascinating about this is that we learn and we understand that when you properly analyze the nervous system, you properly deliver an upper cervical adjustment, and then you allow the body time to heal, no matter what your symptom is, you will get better. But there's a special affinity for those of you who are dealing with cardiac related issues like POTS, because to watch you reclaim your health and regain your health is really fulfilling. So listen, if you know somebody suffering from POTS, if you've been diagnosed with POTS, if you've gotten POTS and you already go to a full spine chiropractor and you are still struggling with this, my challenge to you is to find an upper cervical chiropractor. You can look us up on uppercervicalcare.com. You can call my office, Hope Upper Cervical. We will find a way to help you out. That's like hopesouthlake.com, I think is my website. But what I want you to know is that there is an answer for your POTS. There is a solution. Just sometimes you have to get out of the symptomatic treatment box that Western medicine has put you in and look to the root cause, which always is a neurological problem caused at the top bone of your neck, resulting in a congestion of the ability of life force to flow through your body. When those two things have been restored, you will have health returned.